Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Far From Pro podcast. I am
Welcome
your
back.
host, Evan Walsh, and with me is the man, the myth, the legend, my co-host, Joseph Meyer. Joseph, how are we doing on this fine evening? It's been a couple weeks. A lot happened in the sports world. We got a lot to get into, but how is Joseph doing on this fine evening?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to hop into it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just get right into it, Joseph. We got a lot to get into, so let's just get right into it. Let's start with our hot or not. Week in, week out, this is what we do. Start the show off with it. Must be done. I'll get us going because I feel like I got a really good hot or not this week. I really do. I'm gonna start with my hot. My hot is Hasbulla. For those of you who live under a rock or haven't picked up their cell phone in the past week or so, Hasbulla has touched ground in the United States of America, first time ever. Attended a Lakers game courtside. Was seen hanging out with the Nelk boys, roaming around Las Vegas. Hopped on the Mike Tyson podcast. He seemed to have done his whole press tour. Okay. He is a hot because I think we can all agree Hasbulla is not only an icon, but Hasbulla just brings joy and happiness to everyone. I think whether you see a video of him, whether it's a picture, whatever it may be, I feel Hasbulla has a way of sort of just bringing everyone together. And I really want to have him as my hot this week. I think he can't go untalked about. Unbelievable character, really cute guy. I know he's my age and he's a guy, but at the end of the day, with his figure and form, the way he looks, it's damn near impossible to say he's not a cute-looking fella. So that's my hot. Joseph, do you have a hot or a not for us this week?
Yeah, I do. Love the Hasbulla take. I think mixing the sports world with the Hasbulla world has just worked out perfectly. I got a hot. It's family members of star NFL quarterbacks. So Lamar Jackson has decided that, in this world of multi-million dollars, where he has the chance to make a ton of money, he thinks that, you know what, I don't need an agent, right? I can have my family do it for me. I can take this. I got it. Now, I respect the hustle. But in a world where Lamar Jackson requests a trade on March 2nd, I believe it is March 29th, and he has not been traded. He has been tagged. He didn't even get a new contract. And the Ravens are kind of just doing whatever they want. They just don't really seem to care. John Harbaugh seemed unbothered by the fact that he wanted to trade. He's like, no, he'll be around. He'll be around. So Lamar, let me give you some word of advice. Get an agent. I respect the hustle of working for yourself. But at the end of the day, you have to get back to football. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is getting you the most money possible in the best situation. And I don't think anyone in your family is prepared to do that for you because you have those biases. You have I think my son is better than he might be. I understand the problems. Everyone's like, oh, Deshaun Watson got more money than him. Yes, the Cleveland Browns, we all know, gave Deshaun Watson a bad deal. Let's not act like that other teams are going to will do the same thing with Lamar. I just think you should get an agent, man. What do you think?
Well, I do understand the no agent move, considering you want to save that 5 to 10% that may cost you. I do understand that. And look, I understand what Lamar is doing. He's trying to get as much money as he humanly can. He wants to get as much guaranteed money as he humanly can. And I get it. Here's my thing. And I've always kind of said this about like big contracts and all these big money these players get. What's the difference between $42 million and $48 million? What's the difference between $44 million and $50 million? Now, yes, you're going to say, oh, well, $6 million, duh. Yeah, I get that. But let's be real here. It's $42 million and $50 million. I think you'll be all right either way. Now, Lamar was offered a deal where he literally was given, I believe wasn't it like a 3-year over 133 he tweeted out or something like that? Which, for all you mathematicians out there, it's over $40 million. I believe it's like, over like 43 million, 43, 44 million?
Something like that.
That's a ridiculous amount of money, and it's fully guaranteed. In my opinion, I think you should have took it. Now, what Lamar is doing is basically saying, now everyone keeps saying, I'm not going to, I really don't want to get into too much of the actual details of it. In my honest opinion, though, I think Lamar is making a dumb move. I agree with you. I think he should get a representative to represent him so he doesn't have to worry about this on his own. He doesn't have to hear all the bad things from his coaches and have to say the bad things that basically, because you have to understand when the reason the agent's there is so that when the team offers the first bad contract or when the team says terrible things about you, like how reason why they shouldn't give you the contract, they say it to the agent. They don't say it to you. But when they say it straight to your face, it hurts, and it's a different ball game when you're the star quarterback and you have to hear your franchise talk about the reasons why they shouldn't pay you. You know?
Right, exactly. But it's a business at the end of the day. Like it's not smart in this world in this landscape to give that kind of money to a guy you're not committed to. Now, I think they should be committed to him. They're not for whatever reason, so they're not going to give him that kind of money. And they're saying, good luck finding another team because a lot of teams just don't have that option right now to boatloads of money for a Lamar Jackson type player.
Not at all. And it's like, I think Lamar is putting the league and the Ravens in a tough spot. So I'm actually very interested to see. I don't think any Lamar Jackson news will come out until after the draft. But maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm going to go into my not here, Joseph. And this one is going to take a little bit of explaining. The Los Angeles Angels organization overall is a complete not for years. For those of you who don't know, the World Baseball Classic was a week or so ago, and we had a classic Shohei Ohtani pitching against Mike Trout for the entire game. Okay. For those of you who don't know, those are basically two of the top five debatable top baseball players on the entire planet Earth. And they happen to play on the same team, the Los Angeles Angels. Now, for those who don't watch baseball,
I bet they're good, Evan.
Yeah, you're probably thinking if you don't watch baseball, you're thinking the Angels, the two best players in the world, on the same team. No other team has that. You have to be dominant. You have to be winning games. I mean, there's no way. There's just no way. In fact, one of them plays. He bats. He pitches. He plays outfield. He plays whatever. He's a freak of nature. There's no way this team isn't damn near undefeated. Actually, I'll do you one better. Not only is this team one of the worst teams in baseball, they've been one of the worst teams in baseball since they've had Trout in the beginning and since Shohei's been there. So you're probably wondering, well, why are you selling the Angels organization? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, is it not? These guys clearly don't know how to build around their star players. They clearly don't know how to put the right managers in front of them to coach them. They're clearly doing something wrong. They're not doing things right over there in Los Angeles. You're in one of the most beautiful cities in the entire world. You have unlimited sports probably fans ahead of you, along with year-round baseball and amazing, great LA. I understand that's not all of it, but that's a huge part of it. You're a sports city, in my opinion. And for them to have the players that they have, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, you could have anyone else on your team. There's no excuse for them to be this bad year in and year out, so they're my not. And they're going to stay my not for a while until they perform.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Evan, haven't had a winning season since 2015. Haven't made the playoffs since 2014 when they got swept in the first round of the divisional series. So those boys up north, it's kind of a Dodgers town, but still, man, with all that money, with all that talent, you got to be better than that. I exactly get where you're coming from. I got one more not for you real quick.
Disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting,
yeah,
Joseph.
It's bad. Speaking of another team out in LA, I got another not, and this kind of hurts my heart. It's Austin Eckler. I'm going to try not to tear up on this one, Evan. I'm really going to try to tear up. Unfortunately, I think the Austin Eckler days might have come to an end. And I can't say that I blame the Chargers. Chargers organization's made a whole lot of horrible decisions. I don't think this is one. Austin Eckler, in my mind, just doesn't deserve this massive payload that he's looking for. He does a lot for the team. Great, a ton of touchdowns, a lot of production, super fun to watch. At the end of the day, though, he cannot run between the tackles, Evan. He has with his time with the team after Melvin Gordon left, the Chargers have had no downhill running attack. I mean, there is just nothing between the tackles. Everything is a screen pass or an outside pass, And that's what I want them to get away from this year. Last year, it just seemed like every pass was a screen out to Eckler or out to Josh Palmer, out to Keenan Allen, 5 yards, 10 yards here. You got a quarterback named Justin Herbert who's got one of the best arms in the league. You should be spending your money to help him out, not by just throwing screens. He can throw a lot more than screens. So I love Austin Eckler. I hope he's back on the team. I hope they work something out. But for him to expect this massive payload, this historic payload, I mean, no one's paying running backs anymore. The only running back that's really getting a second contract here that's, Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott got one, and he's already off his team. He's cut. So it's like these second contracts just don't usually work out. McCaffrey's not with his original team. So I amend the Chargers for not, throwing out the entire load here for Eckler just because he's a fan favorite and a great fantasy quarterback or running back and a lot of fun, great talker, great guy. At the end of the day, he's just not worth this kind of money, especially when you have to pay a generational quarterback. What do you think?
I actually really like what you said, but I have to disagree only for one reason. I truly believe a lot of that team's success, and obviously you know more than I do, and you're a Chargers fan, but I truly, from watching you guys, I truly believe a lot of your guys' success. I know you have Herbert, but it comes from Austin Eckler. And not only comes from Austin Eckler, but his consistency to play week in and week out, which is unbelievably reliable for a team that has suffered a lot of injuries like your team has, whether it's a wide receiver area, whether it's the defense area. Like, being able to keep that team healthy is huge, and Eckler's always playing. He always plays well. Like, forget about fantasy. Like, I do understand he may not be able to run between the tackles, but when you have an offense like the Chargers and a quarterback like the Herbert, do you really need a running back that needs to run in between the tackles? Austin Eckler's pass-catching game is easily one of the top 3 in the NFL, in my opinion. It's unbelievable. He does actually pretty well pass blocking, which he doesn't get enough credit for. And when he's running on the outside of the tackles, he does his job, and I think Eckler performs very well. Now, I don't know what money he's asking for. I don't know what contract he's asking for. Do I think he should be paid? I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, I don't know. You make a good point with the Chargers. You do, because if you're the Chargers organization, it's like doubling down on that girlfriend that it's like just like might not work out. Like, she kind of has a few things you got to change.
Right.
Like, you got to rely on her to do this and that, and she might not do it. Like, that's sort of kind of what it is, and like you don't know if you want to double down on her or not. But I it's tough. Honestly, if I'm the Chargers, I don't think I'm going to pay him either. I think you make a good point. It's like you make good examples of Ezekiel Elliott with Christian McCaffrey. Like, Christian McCaffrey's still balling, but he's not on his original team. And, like, you never know with these running backs, and they haven't really worked out. Look at Alvin Kamara. He had one of the worst years he ever had last year, and he got paid a couple years ago. Like, it's hard with these running backs and with their longevity. You don't know. So, but you know what? I'm going to go with your take. I'm going to say the Chargers should not pay him. I think, like you said, it's the whole longevity thing with running backs. That's my take on it. I don't have any more hot or nots. Are you done in that category, Joseph? I don't have anything else in the hot or not.
I'll say one more thing here. So, yes, he's an incredible running back, incredible to watch, great talent. I love him. But that's right now. We don't know what the next 4 years are going to look like. He's already 6 seasons into. He was drafted 2017. Already 6 seasons into his career. So I don't know what year 9 and 10 is going to look like. And that's a lot of money that we would have dead cap if it doesn't work out, or we have to trade him or cut him or whatever. We're already over the cap. We're already in kind of a deal where we had to let a lot of guys go. So to commit a long term to this guy, when we're going to have to pay Justin Herbert like $70,000 million a year starting next year, I can't get on board with it. Pay the man. I mean, give him money, but don't give him this like Saquon Barkley type deal where that's kind of the Giants going all in on their guy, because Saquon Barkley is their offense. I think the Chargers offense will be okay without Austin Eckler. Today, one of our starting wide receivers in that playoff game, Michael Bandy, guess who he signed with, Evan? Guess who? Free agency. Take a wild guess.
That I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's a great guess. Actually, it's a horrible guess. He signed with the XFL Houston Roughnecks. He's not even an NFL player. He's an XFL player, and Herbert was throwing to him in the playoffs as wide receiver 3. So that's kind of shows you where we're at this point.
That's an embarrassing guess. You
Anyway,
know what
let's move
though?
on.
Yeah,
That's all
let's
hard.
just
I'm
not
not
let's
gotten
not get
into that
into
anymore.
fucking XFL. I don't want to get into that shit. Let's go right into March Madness and let's dive right in. I'm just gonna say it right here, right now. We have officially found the Hermathy of all Hermathies. We have found the official I'm her, and that girl is named Caitlin Clark. Ladies and gentlemen, if unless you have some sort of disorder and haven't really been watching the games or catching up, Caitlin Clark is the only player in NCAA history to drop a 40-point triple double in the March Madness tournament, boy or girl. She is a legitimate freak of nature. She can pass, she can shoot, she can score, she can play defense, she can rebound, she can get. I mean, whatever you need her to do, she can do. She's balling out on a consistent basis, and she's talking crap. She just played Louisville in a very
Yep.
highly anticipated matchup. Again, went against another very high level guard, Haley Van Lith, very good player. However, towards the end of the game, when they were down by 15 points, that is Louisville, of course. Caitlin Clark had looked over at Haley Van Lith and basically told her to shut up, look at the scoreboard, and stop talking. Which, to be quite frank, when you're at the level she's at, you can say those things. And you can do things like that. And you know what? She needs to get the respect she deserves. And I don't know about you, Joe, but I'm riding with her the rest of the tournament. I want to see Iowa win it,
Yeah.
mainly because you can't really see Iowa Hawkeyes really accomplishing anything in general. But just with her in general, I really want to see
Yeah.
her win it. I don't want to see the Gamecocks come in and win. I don't want to. I genuinely want to see a great game out of Caitlin Clark and have her win a championship for Iowa basketball. That would be so cool.
Oh, that'd be fun. Absolutely. I mean, she's an electric player. I've got to see her in person actually twice now against Nebraska women's basketball. Just brutal. I mean, she owns the state. In a year where the Hawkeyes could not beat the Cornhuskers at any sport, she said, "That's all me, Chief." I mean, incredible stuff. I love watching her play. I also hate her because she's annoying. It pisses me off. But what can you do?
Annoyingly
She's allowed to be
good.
annoying. She's allowed to be cocky. She's allowed to be, braggadocious. She's allowed to be this kind of, cocky girl, and that's what she's done. And you got to respect it. The best can talk. The best can talk, and she is the best. I love that. I mean, look at the scoreboard. Shut up. Like, that's cool.
It's elite. It's an elite level thing to do, but if we're going the complete opposite of a winner like she is, let's slide right over to my boy Drew Timme. Drew Timme is officially
I don't know.
done. He has posted he will not be coming back for his fifth year, which he is eligible for, by the way, because of COVID. But he will not be coming back for his fifth year. He's officially
He should.
done. Drew Timme is
his
one of those
17th year?
players. Yeah, well, he's also one of those players, Joseph, that we feel like we've been watching him forever. And he's one of those guys where it's time to say goodbye, time for him to take a step away, time for him to, go do his own thing. He had a great run. Gonzaga, in my opinion, kind of got dominated that last game. Not necessarily the game he wanted to go out with. But the weekend before that, him and K-State had a great weekend, a great showing. He absolutely had thriller wins. Ended pretty good on that note. Overall, Drew Timme, he's gone. He's done, and so there's no more Drew Timme in college basketball. How sad.
Sad. It's sad because it was one of my favorite March Madnesses actually was the 2021 March Madness. Even though there were no fans, such an exciting tournament, such a new blood, old blood. That Gonzaga team was so fun to watch, and the buzzer beater against UCLA, the ultimate collapse in the championship game. It was a little bit similar to that this year for them though. Timme leading the way, beating UCLA at the final moment, and then just collapsing the next week. You got to wonder if that's just something that's plagued them throughout, where they get that emotional high and can't rebound from it. Poor UCLA, bro. I mean, they just can't. They can't catch a break. I was thrilled. I had Gonzaga in the Final Four, so I didn't quite get them that far, but I was happy to see them at least beat UCLA in that game. But let's talk about the teams that are in the Final Four. First, I want to talk about. Well, what was your original Final Four? Let's hear that. I want to compare ours.
So, I had Purdue, coming out of the one region. I
Nice.
had
Nice one. That was nice.
UCLA coming out of that bottom
nice.
left region. But that was also I also didn't really think it through considering their best player was out, so I didn't really think that through. I had Houston coming out of the other division. I actually had them winning it all. Not here and there. But I did have UConn. UConn. Not UConn. What was my other team? Oh my god!
It would have been Alabama's region.
Alabama,
Arizona, maybe.
It was Alabama.
Okay.
I had Alabama going all the way, and but I had Houston winning it all. Obviously, it didn't work out too well for me. But to be honest, I don't think there really is a human on earth that could have guessed this Final Four. Like, if I would have told you before this started that Florida Atlantic would be in the Final Four, I think you'd slap me in the face because it's so ass backwards. It makes no sense to me. But you know what? It's happening, and this is March Madness, and this is March, Joseph. This is how things go, and I like it. I really do.
Yeah,
makes it a little different.
I had Alabama winning it all. I had Texas, which got close there. That was my closest one. Gonzaga got pretty close there. And then Duke, that one didn't really work out for me. Kind of went a little bit blue blood there on them, and it didn't quite work out. But I think I finished second in the pool. But man, FAU, dude. It was kind of like, those 8-9 matchups are always so fun because everybody has someone different on the first weekend. So some of my buddies had Memphis. I had FAU. So I was talking trash when FAU won because one of my buddies had Memphis in the Final Four. So he just switched FAU and Memphis. Brutal. Memphis could have made this run too. So I'm a big FAU fan just because I picked them for no reason in the first round and it worked out for me. So I love that. The team I don't love though is SDSU, San Diego State. I'm praying on their downfall, man. I just can't. They should have lost first round to College of Charleston.
Not a West Coast guy.
Yeah, should have lost first round. Well, no. Should have lost first round. Let's get that thing straight. College of Charleston should have won that game. Next, you get Furman, who shouldn't have been there anyway because Virginia screwed that up. So you get College of Charleston, Furman. They did beat Alabama. I kind of refuse to admit that game happened because there's no way that Alabama lost to SDSU. I refuse to believe it. And then you get Creighton when... First of all, it's Creighton. They lost to Nebraska by 10 at home, so let's get that out of the way. Second of all, you need a stupid foul at the end to beat them. Fluky run to the Final Four. Lucky team. They get to play FAU in the Final Four, which means they're probably going to go to the national championship game. And when they do get there, they're not playing Duke or North Carolina or Kansas or Alabama. They're playing UConn or Miami, which are both good teams, but by no means are they blue bloods or teams that have always been there. So just absolutely frustrating. If SDSU wins it all, which I think they very much well could be, that will literally be the easiest run to the Final Four that we've ever seen, ever. So I'm praying on their downfall. I really hope they lose.
That's actually a good take, Joseph. I didn't even realize. You're right. SDSU has had probably the easiest road to the Final Four, and they're about to have the easiest way to win it. And this is their chance to take advantage of it. Who knows when they'll be back? Who knows what's going on? But good for them. There was a lot of eyes on them actually to start the tournament, considering they're a veteran team. They shoot the ball very well, so good for. Hey, I'm happy for them. I honestly would like to see FAU in the championship just because I think that's just like a bizarre championship.
So
the number 9 FAU makes it in the national championship. Just unbelievably bizarre, and I think it would actually be great content and great viewership. So I kind of would like to see them in it versus Miami.
Absolutely.
2 Florida teams come together. I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Something interesting.
You're a Florida boy. You'd like it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
The funniest thing to me
to the south, huh?
The funniest thing to me is like when we see when Loyola made the run, right? They made to the Final Four. In order to get to the to win the national championship, they were going to have to eat Michigan and Villanova. FAU does not have to do that. They have to beat SDSU and I'm going to guess UConn, which is a tough matchup. UConn, by the way, incredible team. I'll talk about them in a second. But like you said, this is not a hard route for FAU. Like, this is doable. This is not something where they fluked their way into this. I mean, yes, they got FDU in the second round, but they could have beat Purdue. I mean, This is incredible stuff. I love it. Great uniforms. Love their coach. Just all around great story. Never even won a tournament game, and they're in the Final Four. And because of all the Princeton beating Arizona and Furman and FDU beating Purdue, no one was really talking about FAU, and I feel like they've kind of just cruised their way here. And everyone's like, well, they've made it. And they beat Tennessee, a pretty good team. They're here, I guess. No one's like, oh my gosh. So I'm excited for them. Who do you have win it all, if you had to guess?
So for my win it all right now, I actually have Miami winning it all. So I'm a big Isaiah Wong guy. I think he's a complete stud, ACC Player of the Year this year. He's actually been a baller this whole tournament. From top to bottom, I think he's been completely and utterly dominant, and he's been showing that why he's the ACC Player of the Year. It is his 4th year, so it's probably going to be his last year in college basketball, unfortunately. But I hope he goes out with a bang, and a national championship is the best way to do it. Plus, Miami, they haven't really been too known for the basketball lately in the past couple of years. ACC was a little weak this year, so they were able to capitalize. They also had a nice road to the tournament, played very well. I just would love to see them beat UConn. I love UConn. I think UConn's a great team. I think they have a lot of great players. Super good coach. So I have nothing against UConn, but me personally, I'm really vibing for the Miami vibe, and I have to see them win it. I think bringing it back to the U would be electric for the university and just for college basketball to have them hopefully come and be a good team in the ACC, give Duke some problems, get other teams, just getting other teams involved. And I think it would just be cool. My pick is Miami right now. How about you?
I'm going UConn. UConn has trashed everyone the whole way. This has been one of the most impressive tournament runs. I think Miami kind of lucked out a little bit as well. I mean, it's March, you get luck, but they could have easily lost first round to Drake. UConn has not looked, out of all these 4 teams, UConn has not looked vulnerable at all, and I'm really excited. I think that was more on what UConn can do and less of what Gonzaga couldn't do. So I think UConn might just destroy everyone on the way to a championship. And if they beat Miami, I'm 100%. There is no chance that FAU. Well, I shouldn't say no chance because I said a lot of things this tournament. But I'll say right now, there is no chance if UConn beats Miami. There's no chance they don't win the championship. Kemba Walker will be smiling. I think UConn's going to win it all. I'm excited to see what they can do. I think honestly, the Miami UConn game is the national championship here. I might be proven wrong, though. I've had that happen many times. Although I will say this was one of my best tournaments ever. So I don't know what it was, but I actually got a lot of the teams correct. Usually my champion and my Final Four teams are out first round, so I'm not too disappointed. But I'll go UConn if I had to choose now.
You definitely did a lot better pin your picks than last year. Last year was a rougher year for you, Joseph. You had a lot of
Oh, it was bad.
It was a bad year, but you know what? You bounced back this year, and I'm real proud of you. You had a great year. And you're right, Miami UConn is the championship. I think either of these teams can dominate SDSU or FAU. I think this is going to be the biggest game to watch. No discredit to FAU or SDSU. I just think confidently Miami and UConn are better than both those teams and would easily give them a problem come the championship. Now we're going to kind of transition a little bit. Let's go just quick NBA talk because I do want to talk a little bit about the NFL a little longer than the NBA. I just want to ask you a quick question for the NBA. I don't want to talk too much actually about teams and stuff because this is kind of like the last week. We got one more week left.
Playoffs. We're hammering playoffs.
The play-in starts April 11th, so we'll talk way more NBA next week. We'll be ready then. But I want to ask you one quick question. Who is your MVP right now, Jokic or Embiid?
Come on. Evan, let me give you a little analogy. Let's say you want to take this girl on a date, right? You want to take her on a date. She's got a boyfriend of 2 years now. Mm-hmm. But you think there's a little bit of chemistry going on. She's been with him for 2 years. Great story. They're in love. You want to take her on her date. You get your chance. She's alone. She looks sad. You get your chance to challenge this man for the woman of your dreams, and you back out and you say, "No, you know what? I'm going to sit the bench. I'm going to take the bench on this one." Embiid, if you really wanted the MVP, you would have done everything in your power to play against the Nuggets. And for that reason, I'm out. This is Jokic's MVP to lose, and he won't lose it. Jokic, you got to challenge him. You got to ask out the girl. It's been Jokic's girl for the last 2 years, and you didn't even challenge him for it. You didn't even take a risk. Take a risk. If you truly care so much, take a risk.
I actually really like that take, Joseph, and I actually love the setup for the game that Embiid did sit out for against Jokic, where Jokic ended up dropping a triple-double and winning that game. Neither here nor there. But I am agree with you as 100%. I think Jokic is the flat-out MVP. Embiid's having a phenomenal year. I'm not debating that from you, but if you look at most categories besides scoring, I think Jokic does way more for his team, does way more on the basketball court. Also, Jokic is a lot more consistent and plays more games. But I'm not here to argue the MVP race right now. I just wanted to see what Joseph's reaction was. Let's go right from the NBA. I don't want to talk too much into it. Let's go right into the NFL because there's a few things I do want to talk to Joseph about that has happened in the past couple weeks that we need to discuss. We actually already talked about Lamar, so I'm not gonna talk about that. We got into that during the Hot or Not. I actually want to ask you about Aaron Rodgers. So we haven't been on this podcast since the news actually dropped. Aaron Rodgers plans on going to the New York Jets if he does play. So, for those of you who don't know, he came out of the darkness, decided that if he was going to play, he was going to be playing for the New York Jets. He said his time in Green Bay is done. He decided that they weren't treating him fairly. They decided to move on without him, without telling him. So he is done there. He says he's done his part. What a great time it was for him in Green Bay. Obviously a Green Bay great. According to him, debatably one of the best ever. All in all, great career for Aaron Rodgers. I'm just curious for you, Joseph, if I'm going to ask a question. What's next for Aaron Rodgers? Because retirement is still on the table for him to step away and not play anymore. He could come play for the Jets. He could have Garrett Wilson. I'm assuming they'll get more weapons for him around him. Maybe get D-Hop. Who knows? My question to you is two things. One, if you were Aaron Rodgers, what do you think your next move is? And two, for the Jets, let's say Aaron Rodgers does not play, he decides to retire, which I don't think will happen. I think he's for sure playing. What is the Jets' next move? Because they're kind of all in on A-Rod right now, but if he doesn't play, it's a different ball game. What do you think it's looking like for both sides of the spectrum here?
Yeah, so I've made my opinion pretty clear here. The Jets is an incredible opportunity. The defense that they have, you can actually work with. They had a playoff-level team. They didn't make the playoffs. They easily could have made the playoffs last year. A couple things go their way. With basically a potato in the backfield. 3 potatoes to make that. I mean, it was literally a steaming pile, just disgusting play back there. And they nearly made the playoffs. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I have to go there. And why is it taking so long? Why is he not? And why is he not in that green jersey already? I don't know what's up with that, because that you have to make that move. I don't know if he doesn't want to do it because that's what Brett Favre did. He said he wants to go do it, so get it done. If both sides want to do it, why is it not done yet? I'm not sure if they're waiting for the draft to be over, or they're waiting for things to line up, or Green Bay is not really giving in. If you're Green Bay, you have to let him go, because the worse this gets, the worse you look, the longer this takes. Because it seems like the kind of team where someone's out the door and you're dragging them back in. You're not letting them leave. If they're out the door, let them leave, move on. You drafted his replacement 3 years ago. You have a pretty talented team around Jordan Love to try to at least make something work. You're not going to be a Super Bowl team. Let Aaron Rodgers go. Let him out the door. It worked for you last time when you let Brett Favre out the door. Don't slam it on him as he walks out. Say, hey, we'll see you later. We'll catch you later. You'll come back to retire a Packer. Go off to the Jets. Have your fun. Don't try to hold this up. As far as if the Jets don't get him, which I think the only way that happens is if Aaron Rodgers decides to retire, because at some point the Packers are going to say, we're not getting anything from Rodgers. We may as well let him go to the Jets. Lamar Jackson, you have to. That would be another perfect opportunity. He wants out. He's already made it clear he wants out, so his cost isn't going to be that much. You pay him just like you're going to pay Aaron Rodgers, and you have incredible. I mean, that's an incredible team. You finally get Lamar Jackson weapons. Lamar Jackson's never had good wide receivers. That has to be the secondary move. I honestly would make that the first move. I know that Lamar Jackson's going to be more money long term, so that's probably they're looking at Aaron Rodgers. But he also provides a long term solution where Aaron Rodgers doesn't necessarily do that. So I think it's got to be Lamar. I think Lamar. I would make Lamar option 1 right now from the Jets. They've made it clear that Aaron Rodgers is plan A, and that's okay, and I think that's a great move. If Rodgers is not there, Lamar Jackson has to be in New York next year. If not, it's a colossal mistake because they're going to waste a whole nother season with a great defense, great weapons, great running game, pretty solid offensive line, and just horrible quarterback play.
Yeah, Joseph, you kind of hit it right on the head. I think the Jets are they're in a good situation. I think they're either getting A-Rod, and from my understanding from the reports I've read, so I believe Aaron Rodgers, the situation why he's not there is because it's all on Aaron Rodgers. It all depends on Aaron Rodgers is going to play next season, if he's going to go and commit to the Jets, if he's going to go spend time and go play with them, because the Jets don't obviously want to do this trade if they don't even know if he's going to play, right? So it's all up to A-Rod. If A-Rod's going to play, he's playing for New York next year. I think for the Jets, you're right. You said it best. They're in a good spot. It's either you're getting Lamar or you're getting A-Rod. And because here's the thing, if you're not getting A-Rod, like you said, you got to go all in on Lamar. Whatever money he wants, whatever he wants to get. Because this is your opportunity. This is your chance. It is. It's your opportunity with the defense that you have, with the players you have, whether it's Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, like your tight ends are good, your O-line looks fine. Like this is a legit chance as long as they get a quarterback for this Jets team to be legitimately a contender. So I think you hit it on the head. They have to execute. They have to get the players and the quarterback that they need for their team to dominate. This is you're 100% correct. 100% correct. No doubt about it.
I love Lamar with weapons. I think you give Lamar wide receivers, and he could really do something special. We've seen him do crazy things with nobody to throw to. So I need Lamar Jackson with a wide receiver 1, and I need it quickly. I need it now.
Yeah, and I think the New York Jets should be the ones to find that out. Good talk. Good little A-Rod talk. Last question of the podcast, and I was thinking about this today driving home, and I wanted to ask you personally, because I have my answer, but I'm going to ask you before I get into myself. What do you think is the best off-season move so far in the NFL? Any team, any player, what do you think has been the best move? If you want me to go, I'll go first, and I'll let you think, okay? I'll go first.
Yeah, go first.
I think Orlando Brown Jr. to the Bengals as a left tackle is no joke the best move so far, and I'll tell you why. Joe Burrow has been healthy for 2 seasons. He went to the Super Bowl, and he went to the AFC Championship. Okay. Both those seasons, okay, when he got a full team, full year, what was his problem the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game? No blocking. No one would block for him. He couldn't get the ball off. He wasn't able to throw. He's running for his life the whole game. That was his only problem. Their defense played fine. Their other receivers, running back played fine. He couldn't be in the pocket. He was getting pressured the whole game. They were lighting him up. That was the problem. Now they're giving him linemen. I'm sure they made some other moves, adjusted some other things to the line, but now you're giving him a high-level all-pro left tackle where he doesn't have to worry about his backside. The most important position on the line, you're giving him one of the best players in the league. It is such a good ad, and it's exactly what the Bengals needed because they're going to be paying Joe Burrow after this year. He's going to be their franchise quarterback. They don't have to worry about that. They have their receivers. Joe Mixon is a great running back as long as his off-field issues are settled. Their defense is perfectly fine. They did just lose their best free safety, which hurts a lot, which is one of their leaders of their defense. But still, they have a great defense. They have great players on their team. I seriously think this is a great move, and it's gonna up the Bengals a lot more than people think. That's just me, though. What about you, Joseph? What's your favorite move?
I agree. I think there's a little bit of a bias towards Orlando Brown because he was Patrick Mahomes' left tackle, so I think that can sometimes skew how good they are because you don't really have to worry about anything when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. But great move. I'm actually going to go a little bit. I'm going to go off the shelf here. I'm going to say Darren Waller to the Giants. I think the Giants had an incredible offseason. They managed to keep all their pieces and get a weapon for Daniel Jones. He struggled with not having a weapon, and I think Darren Waller is one of, if he's healthy, he can easily be the 3rd best tight end in the league. and even challenge some of those guys like Kittle and Kelsey. So it might be a hot take, but I really like that move. I think he'll look great in Giants blue. Giants have a great offseason. I'm excited for them. They're making the playoffs, no doubt. Brian Daboll, just an incredible coach. Still mad that the Chargers didn't hire him 3 years ago, but whatever. We're here now. So I'm excited for what Darren Waller's going to do with Danny Dimes.
It's great. I actually really like that pick, Joseph. And by the way, as long as the Giants give hopefully Daniel Jones one more offensive receiver to throw to, I think that's going to up their game a lot.
Yeah.
And they trend in the right direction.
They have draft picks.
Yeah. Other than that, we covered a lot this podcast. We're not trying to keep it too long. We're trying to keep it, somewhat short. So I think 40 minutes is a good stop time. We covered a lot. We'll be back next week. Talk MLB opening days tomorrow, so we'll talk a little bit of that. Talk some NBA because the NBA season's coming up. Maybe talk NHL too because that playoff season's ending. Avalanche are currently second in their division right now, so they're looking good for a playoff lock. We'll get into that for sure. And yeah, other than that, Joseph, that's it for the podcast. We appreciate everyone for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Week in, week out. We'll be back next week. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. And Joseph, please send us off.
Peace.